welcome back to my channel. My name is Anne, and today we're going to be talking about my cravings and symptoms or side effects or whatever you want to call it that I went through during my first trimester. I also want to put it out there that not everyone goes through the same thing. I just talked to one of my friends and she's like, I am having the best first trimester ever. I am not feeling sick. And I'm just like, must be nice. So everyone goes through different things. So my experience may not be the same as someone else's, and that's okay. We're our own people, right? So if you're interested in hearing more about this, continue watching. So one of the first things I noticed when I found out I was pregnant was that these symptoms now started happening immediately. It was weird. It's like I was perfectly fine before. If I didn't find out I was pregnant then, I wouldn't have known anything because I was completely normal at that time. So one of the first things I noticed was my chest was hurting a lot. It was like overnight. I feel like it was so weird. It's like now that I knew, my body was like, okay, let's get into high gear. So my chest was hurting, you guys. Like one time I was sleeping and I think I moved in my sleep to a certain direction or something, and I woke up from sheer pain, nothing else. It was like, how I described it to my husband was, picture a balloon and a sharp pencil, a lead pencil or HB or whatever it's called, just trying to like poke through, and that's how it felt, but everywhere. So it was a little painful, but you know, it is what it is. So that was interesting. Something else that I noticed was my tired levels were so high. Fatigue, that's what they call it. I was so fatigued, it was ridiculous. Like I would fall asleep at any time and it was so uncontrollable. I was just so tired all the time and it was just so frustrating. So naps became vital, at least one a day right after work. And then, you know, something happened that was new to me. I started waking up early. Like, not that I don't wake up early because I do have work, but like at 5 in the morning, 5:30, 6, just wide awake. And I'm like, what is going on? Let me sleep. And I'm like, is my body preparing me for what is to come? Like, I'm not understanding. Now it's not as bad, but I still get those moments where I'm like wide awake at like 4, and then I have to force myself to go back to bed. Obviously, when you force yourself to go back to bed, nothing happens. You stay awake and it's just, it's brutal. Nausea was real. So when you talk to a pregnant person or you just assume that they have nausea, I did, and it wasn't what I thought. Let me tell you. So my nausea was, I wasn't vomiting. I only vomited about, I think, twice out of the first 3 months. But it was like, imagine having vomit or puke, whatever you want to call it, just at your throat all the time, every day. So if you burp, it comes out. I know it's a little bit too TMI, I'm sorry, but that's just what it was for me. And it was horrible. So it was like the constant feeling of throwing up, but there's no release because you're not actually throwing up. So it was so uncomfortable. I think I broke down a couple of times because I just felt like so helpless, because I'm like, I'm not getting any better. I don't feel any better. What is going on? It was rough. My emotions were, it was rough. So I think something that directly correlated with my level of nausea was the kind of prenatals I was taking. So when I first told my doctor that I was pregnant, she was like, make sure you go get yourself a prenatal now, and it has to have folic acid. I'm like, cool, not sure what that is, but sounds good. I asked her, I'm like, is there any specific one that you'd recommend? She's like, no, they're all about the same. So me, in all my, naiveness, I was like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna go to the store, get anything with folic acid, and that'll be good. So I am now on my third prenatal, and just to say that the first one was the worst experience. My smell was so heightened to begin with, and then this stuff smelled like, so I ended up getting one of those prescriptions for anti-nausea for pregnant people, and that was supposed to help. I was supposed to take 4 a day, 1 in the morning with breakfast, lunch, and 2 before bed. That was my prescription. So I talked to my friend about it actually, and then she recommended a different one. And this one that she recommended was a vegetable-based capsule, and it had ginger in it, which is supposed to help with the nausea. So that was way better. I still felt a little sick, and I think it's just the level of vitamins that are being pumped into your body all at once. That's my theory. I'm not too sure how accurate that is, but that's what I went with. And that's the one that I took all throughout my first trimester until the very end. Until I spoke to my friend after, when I was telling everyone, and she's like, try the gummies. I did, and now I'm loving it. It tastes like candy, so it's fabulous. But in terms of cravings, I went through different things throughout this first 12 weeks. Lots of sweets for some time, and then after that, I couldn't stand them. Bad food, unfortunately, that's still going strong today. I'm really trying to, be like, no, we don't need poutine every day, but it's fine. Cold food. It was so weird. For about 2 weeks, I can't remember which one specifically, I could only have cold food. So if we ordered food or we had dinner, I would put it in the fridge and let it cool down. Because if I tried and ingested that food when it was like warm or hot, I would get so sick. And it was the strangest thing. I'm like, what is going on? I have no control over my body. I don't know what to do. And then the emotions, it's a lot. I'm so grateful because talking to people, they always say after the first trimester, you'll feel so much better. But you never know. There's a chance that it could continue throughout the whole pregnancy. And I was so scared that that would happen to me. I'm so grateful that that didn't happen. I'm so happy that it mellowed out around the 14-week mark. And I went back to feeling like, okay, like I can actually do things and go on walks and not feel like absolute trash. It was great. So I'm very grateful for that. And so if I could just say a word of encouragement to anyone who's going through that, just keep pushing. And it's okay if you're tired, if your hormones are everywhere, just keep going, and hopefully it gets better for you. I'm also gonna bring my husband in. His name is Dan. I've mentioned him a couple times in the video, but I'm gonna bring him in because I think it's also important to hear it from his perspective, watching me go through it, just to see his side of things, because I also think it's important to just talk about it together. So this is my hubby. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Dan. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Dan. So I wanted to get his opinion on how he thought this all went for at least the first trimester. So give it to you. So what kind of symptoms do you think I had, or like cravings? Was there anything that I missed that maybe you saw?
Anne is a major complainer, so let's just get that out there.
Relax.
Put that out there on the table.
I'm not.
No, I'm just joking. No, Anne's pretty chill. You guys will get to know that over the next few weeks, months, years, decades.
Oh my gosh.
However long this channel,
my goodness.
whatever it progresses to.
Okay.
No, Anne's pretty relaxed, but I know definitely, she's definitely not anymore, but for the first few months, a lot of nausea, like throughout the entire day. I'd ask her what's going on, what's wrong, how you feeling, and she was super nauseous all the time. A lot of headaches, very sleepy all the time. That's still happening. Although she was always sleepy.
Shut up.
She's a big napper. Anyways, yeah. So I would say, nausea, very tired, and headaches. Those are the three main ones that I picked up on, that you kind of expressed to me.
Was there a time where you were like, oh my goodness, like what can I do to help her? Or like, was there any time you're like, what is going on? I feel like I broke down a couple of times, which is unlike me. I don't really cry too often. So I think when I did, he's like, what's wrong? What can I do? Like, do you remember?
Yeah, I think the way you described it was kind of like, imagine like being hungover.
Okay, relax.
All day, every day.
Listen.
For 3 months.
It is what it is, but yes.
Basically, that's it. So you're tired. You feel like garbage. you're nauseous. That's what you experienced anyways. But we've talked to some other friends who are also pregnant, not to be named or anything like that. You know who you are, who have just been feeling joyous.
I'm like,
Just amazing, nonstop. Actually better than if they weren't pregnant. So everyone's experiences obviously are different, but that's kind of what I picked up from Anne. These are things she just communicated to me.
were there any cravings you think I had, or was anything different about my usual eating habits that you noticed?
So Anne and I are big fans of shawarma. We live in Ottawa. Shawarma is like a huge thing here, and so Anne and I, we actually eat shawarma usually probably 3 times a week at least. But Anne, for a period of time, could not stand the smell of the garlic from the shawarma place. In fact, she couldn't eat it, couldn't eat the potatoes, nothing,
Sad times.
which is weird because like she loves that stuff. So that's kind of what I remember. Everything kind of seems normal now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing like specific that I would point out that you are craving.
Mm-hmm.
You?
It's just fruit.
Actually, yeah, she does eat an absurd amount of fruit, I've noticed. I didn't feel like pointing it out to her, but like this morning I think she had like 17 or 18
Okay,
tangerines.
listen.
Something like that. Yeah, she goes through like, at least 6 dozen tangerines per week.
First of all, they're clementines, but whatever. So is there anything that you would recommend to a partner who is going through this, watching their person go through all this motions? Like, is there anything that you'd recommend or advice or anything you'd give to them?
I would say the advice would be similar just to as to how to be a good, husband, partner, would just be listen, ask if they're okay, ask if you can help, be there, be thoughtful. These are all
I think you should be doing it
anyways, yeah.
but-
Should double down on those things.
Well, thank you for coming and joining me today. I'm sure we'll see you again. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, leave any advice or any questions. And if there are any questions, I'll address them on my Instagram page linked below. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share the video. Thank you, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.